hold on, hold up, no. Girl, sit down, be humble. That's cool, but like how? How does that work? And when I say everything, I literally mean everything. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hey, my name is Amen Temeskin, and this channel is dedicated towards Christ-centered content with the intentions of being a source of a hope and a light to those who watch. So today's video will be on 18 things I've learned in 18 years of life. I am turning 19 tomorrow, so I actually saw this type of video from Milena Ciciotti, and I was like, this is a really cool idea. She did it for her turning 26, so she had 25 things that she had learned, and I was like, this is a cool idea, and I wanted to do that because I think that the Lord has shown me a lot and taught me a lot, and this is in no way of me saying that I have it all figured out, because I don't, but I do feel like the Lord has taught me and grown me a lot. A lot of things happened this year. I graduated high school, I moved into college, and those were kind of like more of the bigger things that have happened, which have a big influence into the things that I have learned and the things that the Lord has taught me. So now let's get into the 18 things that I have learned in my 18 years of life, going on to 19. And this is not in any particular order, it's just like things that kind of came to mind. Number 1, obey God even when it makes no sense. So the reason why I wrote this was because this is something that the Lord had to teach me. Cal State Northridge, I knew that that was the school God wanted me to go to for university, for my bachelor's, but I did not want to go there at all. And they did have a law program there that would be great for my career, but it had been far away from home. I did not want to go that far from home, and I heard God telling me, this is where I need you to go. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it. This makes no sense. I don't want to do it, but I'm gonna go. What I learned from that obedience is God's will was able to be done in my life because I said yes to him, regardless of going to Northridge, which made no sense to me because I didn't know anybody there. I don't want to be far from home. All these different things, all these different question marks that I had in my life, God really provided for when I obeyed him. So obey God even when it makes no sense. That's why I chose that as my first thing. And now my second thing is God will take care of your every need. And so yeah, okay, we say this a lot in church, you know, God is a provider, he'll provide for you, all these different things. This had been something that, yes, I had known in my head, but my heart didn't really know it or understand it or see it really play out in my life personally. And I would say this because when I went to college, I saw God prepared for my needs with finding a godly community there, with helping financially with college. God showed me, like, since you obeyed what I told you to do, I will provide for your every single need there. And so I just saw that the Lord had opened up so many doors and really provided for everything that I needed, even when I had doubts. A practical example of this was I had known at the end of my senior years, I was still 18, I had known that I was gonna go to Northridge. I decided to go there, but I was like, Lord, I need like a sign to know that this is the right thing to do. And the Lord had provided me with a roommate that I had known from high school. So that was a great like stress reliever for me because I was like, okay, that's great. I know who I'm gonna be moving in with. And that was a great help, and the Lord was kind of showing me like, I got you, like you're good. And so all these different signs and all these things that the Lord had done to show me that he was really there for me, to provide for me, like he always promises that he would. This one is kind of simple and like obvious, but I needed to know this. And it's want friends, leave your dorm. The reason why I wrote this down was because first moving into college, it's hard finding those friends, it's hard finding those people, it's hard getting out of your comfort zone just to like say hi to people, honestly, just to do that because it's a brand new environment. You have no idea who these people are, and it takes a lot to honestly get yourself out there, especially being a Christian. You want to find those good Christian people, but it was hard. I knew that there would be some Christian event, I knew that there would be something that I could go to that would be beneficial for me to meet new people. I just didn't want to, and every single time I would go and leave my dorm to do those good things, I would always be refreshed, I'd always be encouraged, I'd be like, wow, I'm glad I went to those things. I'm glad I actually have friends now that I can like feel comfortable around and all these things. So that would not have happened had I not left my dorm. So to those people who are like, you want those friends, you want that community of people, and yes, there are so many things like pray for it and God can do these things and look it up on Google, and leave your dorm. That's where it starts. And so as obvious as that might sound, that is something that I had to learn. This one is another one that's kind of like, I don't want to say silly, but just like God had to show me. I wrote, sit down, be humble. in parentheses, YouTube. So I started this YouTube channel when I was 18, and I knew that this channel would be for the glory of God. Obviously it's Christ-centered content and all these things, but I had to keep reminding myself, and the Lord had to continuously teach me, girl, sit down, be humble. It was a daily choice and a daily mindset I had to be, hold on, it's not about you, it's not about those views, it's about God getting glory from it and his glory being revealed in that. Also encouraging and helping the lives of the people that are watching, because those views aren't just numbers, those are people, those are souls. Souls translates to people who have an opportunity to meet Jesus, to have an eternity with God. This is important and it matters, and it's not about me. So that is something that I had to remind myself that the Lord is teaching me. And so a practical way for me to like practice humility in my own life is before I film these videos, I pray. Before I post my videos, I pray, just being like, Lord, let people see this video, not see me for it, but to see your glory, to be pushed closer to you. Because at the end of the day, what matters is the Lord, his work, and our lives being transformed. Number 5, God's timing is perfect. Yes, we've heard this so many times, but while I was 18, I was, getting ready to see what colleges had accepted me. Actually, I know that there's right now is kind of the season of people who are like submitting their college applications, so this might be like a perfect reminder for you guys as well. But I had to wait. I had to see, one, if I got into the college that I wanted to get into, and 2, get into that specific law program at Cal State Northridge. That took a while for me to wait and see what the results would be, if I got in or if I didn't. But in that, staying faithful to the Lord and being like, Lord, whatever happens, and you're gonna open the right doors and you're gonna close the wrong ones for me. And I just need to be content in that season of waiting. So that's something that the Lord is continuously teaching me in my own life. Okay, number 6. This one doesn't really have anything to do with religion, but reading is not boring. That's what I put as something I learned, because starting especially in my senior year, in my English class, we had to do like reading log every week. And it was a great incentive for me to actually read, and I just fell in love with reading again. I need to get back into that. If you find the books that you like, you'll read it. So it's really just about the type of books that you get. Number 7. This, I'm pretty sure I heard from another YouTuber. Her name is Melody Alyssa. Resting will take you places running could never. This is huge. So this actually stems from John chapter 15 verse 4 in the NLT version, and it says, remain in me and I will remain in you, for a branch cannot produce fruit if it is severed from the vine, and you cannot be fruitful unless you remain in me. So this is Jesus speaking to his disciples, and it's also known as like abide in me and I in you. So what this taught me, abide, the root word of that in Greek is meno. Meno means to rest, to abide, to stay, to remain. That is what it means. And so in that, like I said, resting will take you places running could never. Being in the hustle, being in the grind of things, that is such, the culture that we live in today. But resting in the Lord, now this doesn't mean being lazy in the Lord. Resting in the Lord means that you will be getting places. God's will be done in your life when your will is in alignment with his. And so a lot of times I would feel like I had to work my way to God, work my way to his love for me or his acceptance, but that is literally a false gospel. That's not the truth at all. Resting and abiding in Christ and in the finished work of Christ, that is what allows me to actually experience his grace and his love for me. And now this doesn't mean to be lazy. So obviously staying consistent in those routines of reading my Bible, of staying in godly community, of listening to worship music. These are great things and you can rest in that. It's nothing to work for, it's something to rest in. So that is something I have learned this year that has been really honestly huge. That's something that the Lord has been teaching me. Okay, number 8. If you are out in the deep, aka out of your comfort zone, that's your perfect opportunity to trust God with everything. So again, going back to college, that was my time of just being like, Lord, it's really just me and you out here. You're gonna need to show out because I need you in every little area of my life. So God taking me to Northridge was his way of taking me out of my comfort zone so that I could rely on him for every single thing. Had I stayed at home, I would have still relied on my parents to a certain extent for certain things. That's not a bad thing. I needed to stay home for a certain amount of time in my life in order to be nurtured, to grow, to mature. But going to college really helped me mature on my own and spiritually as well, because then everything was up to me now. I had to make good decisions or bad decisions. It was all up to me. But knowing that I had been out of my comfort zone, that was the perfect opportunity for me to be like, God, my life is really yours and you're gonna need to show out. You're gonna need to provide in every single area because I can't do this on my own. Okay, number 9, your relationships back home are vital. So when I went to college, I did not just sever every single relationship I had back home, like with my parents or with family or with church. that's not what happened. If anything, I feel like I grew closer to a lot of people. I still chose to be accountability partners with the people back at my own church. I chose to do these different things because I know that the godly community that I have back home is vital. It's important to me. And so while it is important to create new friendships and all these things in my new environment, it's also very important to stay consistent with those other people as well. All right, number 10, invite God into the mundane things. So the reason why I wrote this down was I realized that I could really invite God into every single thing in my life. When I walk to class, when I walk back to my dorm, I can just talk to God. I can be like, hey God, what's up? This is what's been happening in my day. This is how I feel right now. Invite God into the simple, mundane things because he wants to know about it. He already knows your thoughts. He already knows what's happening in your day. Invite him into those things and that'll actually help you feel like you're actually friends with God. People say like, Jesus is my friend or Jesus is my best friend. A lot of Christians say that and I'm like, that's cool, but like how? How does that work? And that was one way of doing it, of being like, God, hey, I'm hungry right now. Or yeah, but honestly, like just telling him like the little things because he wants to be involved in it all. Number 11, you can glorify God in everything you do. And when I say everything, I literally mean everything. So Bible, to back it up, 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 31. So whether you eat or drink or whatever you do, do it all for the glory of God. So that shows you can eat to the glory of God. You can drink to the glory of God. What does that imply? You can also not glorify God in the way that you eat, in the way that you drink, in the way that you talk, in the way that you behave. So if my life is genuinely his and I'm like, Lord, I want you to do what you want with it, everything I do should be in alignment with that. Do I fall short? Absolutely. Am I perfect at this? Absolutely not. But it's something I realized like, oh, you can actually like glorify God in everything. And that's another thing of like bringing God into those things of every area of your life so that you can be like, hey, God, is this even glorifying you? Is what I'm doing right now really something you want me to do? Bringing God into those things and those decisions too. All right, this one is pretty practical. Number 12, you will never go wrong asking questions. You can apply it spiritually, but also very practically in college. So in college, there are so many resources out there to help you academically, to help you with scholarships. Ask questions. You will not be looked at as weird, and if you are, that's okay. A lot of times we're like, I don't want to ask that question, I don't want to say that in front of the professor, and I don't want to raise my hand in class. But honestly, especially if it's in a classroom setting, chances are the question you have, a lot of other students have the same exact question. So help yourself and help the other people around you ask those questions. It's just really helpful. So yeah. Okay. Number 13, start the accountability group, make that accountability partner. So the reason why I say this is because a lot of times we know that to grow in our walk with Christ, we need godly community. We say like, Lord, help me find this godly community of people. A lot of times God has given us those people and we don't even notice it. And all it is we just have to text this person, hey, does this day at this time work for you to just read the Bible together for maybe 30 minutes, for maybe an hour? Just start it. If you find that time that works for you and works for the other person or maybe the other two people, then that's perfect. And for an accountability partner as well, if you want someone to be like, hey, can you check up on me once a week? How am I doing mentally, spiritually, emotionally, physically? You can find that just by reaching out to someone via text, phone call, whatever it is that works for you. So of course you have to find the right person in order to do that. But a lot of times we are kind of scared and afraid. You are not the only person that wants it. Somebody else wants that relationship as well. So it's great if you initiate it because chances are if you don't initiate it, the other person probably won't either. So yeah. Number 14, you are never alone. God is with you. So again, very common, we know these things, but it's another thing when your heart actually believes this, like, oh wow, I may feel alone at this very moment, but the Lord is with me. College is a time, sure, you get to grow as an individual, sure, you are, learning all these different things, but it can be a lonely time for a lot of people. And as a Christian, the wonderful thing is we are truly never, ever, ever alone because God is with us. Number 15, God honors your yes to him. Whenever we say, yes, Lord, I will do whatever it is that you call me to do. If he tells you to go somewhere, to do something, to say something to someone, and you say yes to that, the Lord sees that, the Lord honors that, and the Lord will bless you for your obedience to him. I've seen that time and time again in my own life. Number 16, kill pride before it takes root in your life. The reason why I say to kill pride is because it's something that honestly just drives God away from you. James 4:6, God opposes the proud but shows favor to the humble. That shows that the Lord is literally in opposition to pride. If you have pride in your life, he is opposed to that. That appalls him. That sets that distance between us and him. So many different opportunities for the enemy to just like throw seeds of pride in my mind. And I was just like, hold on, hold up. No, It's not about me. And another thing about pride is that pride becomes part of our identity. We become prideful in who we are, and it kind of shows us that like, oh, we're better than, we don't need God. For me, I'm like, no, I do need God. I do need him in every single area of my life, and I don't want one thought, I don't want any prideful nature that I have within me, a sinful nature within me. I don't want that to set me and God as opponents, to set us apart from each other. I don't want that. And there's actually a quote that I heard, I actually posted it on TikTok, and it was, God, if this takes me an inch away from you, I want it miles away from me. That's really how it is with sin in general. If you notice that there is one sin in your life that you just keep going back to, something that just keeps you and God separated, if this even sets you an inch away from God, I want it miles away from me. That's a prayer that I have to pray for myself and to remind myself as well. Okay, number 17, we're getting to the end. Stop overthinking. It's not that deep, just do it. So the reason why I say that is because I overthink things a lot of times. I may be like, oh, what happens if I post this video? Should I post this? Should I do this? And I think to a certain extent, it's a good thing to think through things. Obviously, you want to make wise decisions, but a lot of times that can also hold me back. I had been kind of apprehensive about starting TikTok because I just didn't want to. I had an account before, but I didn't want it to be like public per se, the way that I've done for YouTube. And then I remember I was on a phone call with my sister and I was like, okay, if I were to have a TikTok, let's be honest, I know that I'm just going to be posting Christ-centered content, things that will glorify God and things that will bring other people closer to God as well. And she's like, if that's the case, then why are you holding back? Like, it's not that deep. And so I just needed that person to tell me like, I mean, you're getting in your head for what? If it aligns with the word of God, if it's for his glory, just do it. You're good. All right, number 18, the last thing that I learned. The world is so much bigger than you know. The reason why I say this is because, again, going to college, I have learned and I have seen and I've come in contact with people that are literally from different parts of the world. People that have so many different faith backgrounds, people that are from so many different countries. I got to see and meet so many new people and I was like, whoa, your world is so much bigger than you thought. Because I had grown up in one church environment, one community of people, one school. And so I was like, I thought that was just the world, but it's not. That's not the case. So it's really cool to see the way that different ministries do their ministry, seeing the way that different churches lead their worship or do their sermons. It was a great way to get accustomed to different cultures, different environments, and a great way for me to just like learn that the world is so much bigger than I actually thought. All right, guys, those were the 18 things that I have learned in my 18 years of life. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Bye, everyone.